All right, hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. This is going to be lo-fi heaven. For those who love lo-fi, we're actually going to create the actual sound of lo-fi in this video. This is all about downsampling. So if you made it this far in the series, congratulations. A lot of people would not have opened this up, but you did. So I'm going to show you the secrets for downsampling. One of my favorite things to do to enter a whole new world of sound. And that's the cool part about sampling. Not only do we have RX, which can separate sounds, we can also downsample, which opens up a different world. We could use one-shots, time stretch it, make new synths out of the stuff. That's why I love sampling. Sampling will never go away. It's so high level when you really get into it. So now let's focus on downsampling. So let's see. I think I muted all the tracks by accident. If this track's good enough, I'll I guess it's cool enough to add a lo-fi vibe to it. So the first thing I'll do, I'll show you all the different ways to lo-fi. So in FL, there's a plugin called Fruity Delay 3. I have to turn this track off just in case it clips. Okay, didn't clip that, didn't clip that, didn't clip that, didn't clip that, didn't clip. Okay, so what we're gonna do here, I forgot it. Uh-oh. Sounds so weird. So, okay, so turn the wet level all the way up. And then what we're going to do is turn the dry level down, feedback level down. Let me put this on a different track. That would make more sense. Let's just call this the beat. And let's route all these things to the beat. Wouldn't that make sense? Now, I wish it would smart route groups, but we have to reroute samples back to the sample group. Okay. Let's add the drums. Where's our drum? Is this it? Yeah. So the reason I'm grouping everything is just so I can add an effect directly onto just those sounds and not my voice. So I'm going to duplicate that over to the beat. You don't have to do that step. I should have just known to do that. Anyway, so here's the beat as a whole. And the first thing is Fruity Delay 3. A lot of people sleep on this plugin for lo-fi effects. So you can turn the wet level all the way up, dry level all the way down. You can turn the feedback all the way down and delay time all the way down. So it's transparent. It might have something doing to the audio, but it's transparent for the most part. It's not acting as a delay. Now, next thing we could do is use what's called time modulation. So this is when it creates a pitch bend effect. You can hear going, so that's mimicking what's called the wow effect in tape. You just want to pull it back so it's less dramatic. You'd be surprised those small pitch changes grip the ear and make people listen. So that's not the only thing you could do. You could also lower the sample rate here with the sample rate reduction. Now this one adds a ringy sound. So you can, in the top left, you could read what the hertz are. So we're downsampling from 44.1 kilohertz, which is how many snapshots of the sound we take, how many pictures per second. And then we're lowering how many pictures per second we can take. So you can lower it down to, I don't know why they made it this scale, because, I mean, from here to here, you're going down 20,000 hertz, which is a big jump, but it's like a little blip on the thing. So it's not the greatest tool to really get accurate with. And you can't type in values, so that's kind of hard to deal with. But most people pull it down to like here. And you hear that ringy sound. So some people like that sound, some people don't. It depends on the sample. What you could do, though, to get rid of that is go to your LP, which stands for low pass filter, which means we're going to chop out all the high frequency stuff, and just lower your cutoff. See, we're taking out a majority of the track. So a lot of people don't really like that portion of it, but you could do it that way. And you could even lower the bit rate, which is basically, it just adds noise. Okay. So, I mean, that's one way to do it. It works really well on samples. Also, sometimes it works really good on the entire track. Now let's get into more detailed ways to do it. The first way is to record whatever the audio is that you want. In this case, it's going to be Edison. and we're going to record on play. Hit stop twice on the master playback. Hit record on Edison and hit play. Hold on one sec. All right, my computer freaked out there. All right, sorry about that. It's like Inception. We're sampling a sample into a sample. Okay, so let's do that one more time. Hit the stop on the playback. Hit record on Edison. All right, so now we are back to normal. We have this here, and without any, okay, anyway. So now that we have this here, okay, what we can do is you can right click either right here where it says sample rate, and you'll go directly to this window, or you could right click the audio, go to format, edit properties. So we're going to edit the properties. We're going to switch this to 16-bit. Very important to do 16-bit because other DAWs have an issue sometimes with FL and their 32-bit. So we're going to knock this number down from 44,000 to, let's say, 16,000. And hit resample, hit accept. And what it does is, you just saw the waveform move. It takes out the high frequencies, almost as if we added a filter. And it has this like smooth polish over the sound. So let's send that to the audio, to the playlist as an audio clip. And let's do one more. Let's right click. Let's go to format, edit. And I'm just going to do different exaggerations of it. So let's do 8,000 hertz, hit resample, knock it down to 16-bit. So this will chop off even more high-end stuff. Send that to the audio. Send that to the playlist as an audio clip. And I guess it didn't send to the playlist, but let's call this 8,000 hertz. The first one was 16,000. Okay. And it did send it. It just sent it in a weird way. So we'll keep those to the side just so you can hear the difference. And then lastly, let's Control Z, go back to the 44.1, go to format, edit, and let's knock this down to 1,000 to be really exaggerative. Hit resample. Hit 16-bit, accept, and now I got rid of almost all the high end. To where you can't even hear the vocals anymore. Okay, so that's what real low fidelity means. You're lowering the sample rate, you're lowering the quality of something. Okay, so that's what it actually means. And we can do this in FL Studio without any plugins. So that's, the quick way to do it. I'll show you a couple other ways we could do it as well. So let's listen back to these different versions. So this is the original. Let me group this so it's easier to, actually that won't do anything. Okay, so let's listen to the version which was, has the most high end frequencies. Let's rename this. Let's call this 1,000 hertz. So this gets rid of the high end. So here's without. Listen to the hi-hats. Very bright. And then listen to the 16 kilohertz or 16 hertz. 16 kilohertz. Not as bright of a hi-hat. And now listen to the hi-hats that are disappearing slowly as we have it to 8,000 hertz. And now when we go down to 1,000 hertz resampling, you really don't hear the hi-hats. Okay, so you could do a lot of different things like blend that in with the original if you didn't want to go completely lo-fi. You could blend that in, like, send this to a new mixer insert and compress it with something really heavy, like an 1176, for example, and just smash it. And blend in that low tone. That's one thing you could do. Maybe run it through a saturator. I'm just throwing stuff at it. I'm not telling you this is a chain. I'm just creating ideas here. so you hear all that boxy. Then you could blend that in with the original. So these are just ideas. Alright, looks like our audio is blowing up. Let me turn this off. Let me see if you could hear me without that on. Okay, that's what's causing the problem. Let's just turn that off for a second. Okay, so these are just options. So let me show you some more stuff you could do. Let's grab an actual like audio loop sample instead of like a full track, because it might not make. Actually, let me think for a second. Maybe let's grab a sample, an actual sample, and let's do something modern, just to show you how we can take this modern sounding thing and make it sound quote unquote dated. Okay, so now we have that sound. Let's send it to the mixer. Hit Control L. So now I'm going to show you some more advanced ways. Another way you could do it is by D16 Group. There's a plugin called Decimort 2. Now this plugin, for the longest time, I would just lower the sample rate and it would create that ring. And I would use the low pass filter to chop out the ring. But that's not, you don't have to do it that way. So Sound Oracle taught me this. And what you do is you hit images filter. So now when I lower the resample, it doesn't have that ringy noise. Okay, so it sounds like we're filtering, but really with resampling, it's just we can't take enough snapshots to have high frequencies. So it's like a natural low pass filter, but it has a different sound because of the way it processed. So if you have stuff with the bass is really going to shine because we can't hear the high frequencies when you lower the sample rate. Let's pull this back up to like, let's say 12 kilohertz. So that's one trick. You could also run it through tape emulation plugins to get like that tape glue, they call it. I am going to skip the tape for now. There's a plugin called Isotope Vintage Tape. Let's see what this tape sound gives us. Let's go to 15 IPS. And what I like to do is just drive it in. Now this track's already mastered, so you don't want to overkill. So that's, that's kind of, it doesn't match that tone. Let's think of other cool ways and things we could do. You could do the pitch wobble effect, the wow effect. You could do that with Fruity Delay. Let's just do it with the Fruity Delay 3 and turn this on. So let's turn the dry level down, wet level all the way up, feedback level down, delay time down, and then mess with the time modulation. Create that pitch wobble effect. Now, most people, when they resample like that, I like to cut out the lows too, because you have to think about older, playback systems didn't have sub bass. Like in the 60s in their car radio, they did not have subwoofers listening to talk radio. They were not riding down the street with 12s bumping. So they did not have as much low end bass that we have today. So think about that. And I'm going to add a high pass filter to get rid of the lows. So it says right here the cutoff is 600 hertz. It's a pretty safe spot. So we took out the super highs and we took out the super lows, and we're left with this kind of like bandpass area. We got the pitch wobble going. It's really all you need. And at this point, you could add things like vinyl crackle. I think Sound Oracle has a pack called Digital wax, if I find it here, Sound Oracle. And you just want to find a pack with a good vinyl crackle. You don't need to overkill here. Where we at? Sound, where's it at? Digital wax. And let's go to analog texture, album vinyl. And just grab some vinyl, drag it in, unmute it. And what I like to do is just chop the vinyl at an even bar. So it's easy to just copy and paste it. Because I don't like to get too crazy with. Okay, so just add vinyl. Okay, so I'm just gonna adjust the high pass filter.
Days roll by and hours just tick on through. Moments reside, the longer you think it. Power resides.
And now it sounds like it came from a real record. Now, if you don't want it to be that dramatic of a sound, you can always pull back your filters. But I kind of like this clean just tone that we could add drums underneath.
Days roll by and hours just tick on through.
Okay, so my whole goal here is to show you that we're lowering the quality. The last thing that I'll show you here is to make it mono. More mono stuff usually sounds dated. So in FL, you have these things. If you click on this button here, view extra volume stereo properties, you can make stuff mono by turning it to the right or merging it, it's called. So this gets rid of all the stereo stuff, the left and right ear stuff. Even this sounds cool to widen it like this. Now, lo-fi is more of a stereo, but if you wanted to sound dated, you could pull it mono.
Days roll by and hours just tick on through.
And now, really, if you think about it, it sounds like it's going through like a phone. You know when you wait on the phone and they play that waiting music? That's what it sounds like. I'm even going to run the vinyl through. The thing about the vinyl is it has high end, so that might not be the best thing to do. But you want the vinyl to match the same way, because the vinyl is not mono, it was stereo. So you need to match the qualities of the vinyl with that record as well. So I'm just going to add my own touch just to show you how far you could take it. Now this is just my own, what I want to hear. Now we're not going to make it mono in this case. So I'm just reshaping it real quick just to give it like a stereo effect, but I want to make it mono first and then stereorize the mono sound. There we go. So let's, act as if this were a real. The thing is, this is not time stretched. I think we got lucky with the time. Let's see. It might be at 112 samples. We might have just accidentally perfectly lined this up. That might be the key. It may or may not. I don't think it is. It's close, but not all the way there. I was gonna add some drums just to show you, but I know time stretching would take too long. So me, I'm weird, so I like to do weird stuff, like add a whole effects chain. Again, I'm just trying to show you the depths of thought you can go to. So in this case, I'll blend like a reverb with, actually, let's switch. Forgot I have this other reverb. Okay, that I really like. It's a little pre-delay, so it doesn't eat up the whole sound. Swap out the zones. delay. Then I'm going to do like a delay mod effect. So I'm just trying to pick my brain to go into deep, weird trains of thought. Or should it be chains of thought? Because technically it's a thought chain. I can't even hear what this delay is doing.
Gone through moments reside the longer you think it power resides in the hands that are elevated.
All right, so it can get pretty weird. I can't even really hear what's going on there. So let's just do a pre-built weird plugin called Real ADT.
Gone through moments reside the longer you think it power resides in the hands that are elevated. Taking what's yours is mine and I can't fake it.
It's a little hard to hear the aux track, but so hopefully you can start to see like where you could take this.
When I found out whatever you told me a pack of lies, I'm fine, no tears. It takes time. I'm trying to be clear. It took me 3 or 4 times. I don't wanna be here in the state of mind. Going out into the night, see what I can find.
Okay, so that's the gist. And again, you could always pull back. If you want the highs back or vice versa, you want the lows back.
Sometimes it gets so lonely at night when you're not around. I'm finally treating myself right, closing this chapter. Won't stop.
Okay, so that's how you can switch it up. So here's without. Just to remind you where we started from. Here's with. So downsampling is one of my favorite things to do because it's almost like pitching something down. We haven't heard it before in that way. So that's what I love about it. So I'll cut it here, but thank you for continuing this series. It's the sample series right here at busyworksbeats.com/sample. Invite your friends to the series. They can go through it too. Appreciate you. It's Game from busyworksbeats.com.